Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Results Mastery live stream. It's great to be here. My name is Steve Mills, and I'd like to sincerely thank you for your time in watching or listening to me today. It's great to have you, and whether you're new and or you've been to lots of my events and live streams and webinars and so on and so forth, it's great to have you here. So today we're looking at a fairly big subject, which is lead generation, how to generate more leads. The simple truth is that, lead generation is tough. Marketing is easy. Marketing is about, people talk about brand awareness. I want to create brand awareness. I need to get myself known, which you do, by the way. But lead generation, actually getting those leads, is something that a lot of businesses find difficult. And if you examine why that is, I think it's an important thing to understand. Why aren't I generating the number of leads that I should? We're really good at what we do, but we're not very good at marketing what we do. And that's a statement I've heard literally thousands of times over the last 30 years. We're really good at what we do, but we're the best kept secret, or we're not very good at marketing what we do, or we don't have time to market what we do, or we don't understand modern digital marketing. I've heard of AI, but I don't really know it. Or AI, yeah, I'm on ChatGPT and I use it occasionally. That level of commitment ain't going to do it. Marketing is a key part of your business. If you look at, what is the difference between a successful business and one that's not successful? It's how good they are at marketing and selling their services, or as I like to call it, lead generation and lead conversion. That's a whole ball of wax. What is the purpose of your business? It's to make a profit. That's it. Nothing else. It's to make a profit. Even if you're a charity, it's to make a profit so you can do good with the money that you get. That's your profit. So if that's the case, how do you make more profit? Well, again, really simple. There's only two ways: reduce your costs or increase sales. Now, you can reduce costs immediately. You could save something, 2%, 5%, 10%, but there's a limit, isn't there? There's only so much you can save. So really, to make more profit in your business, whilst you can save a bit, to expand things, you've got to be good at lead generation and lead conversion, aka marketing and selling. Now, if I asked you, on a scale of 1 being absolutely awful, 5 being average, a typical business owner, and 10 being truly world class, where would you rate yourself in terms of your sales and marketing skills? How good are you at marketing yourself on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on X, on YouTube, on email, on Google AdWords, and so on and so forth? What about lead conversion then? How good are you at following up on leads? How quickly do you do that? What percentage of leads do you turn into meetings? What percentage of meetings do you turn into sales? How good are you at keeping a customer? What's your average unit of sale? And all these are really key numbers for you that when I speak to business owners, which I've been doing now for over 30 years, I don't think I've ever met one of them that's been able to give me those sorts of totally accurate numbers, knowing exactly where they are. And there's an old saying, isn't there, that you cannot manage what you do not measure, and that's one of the biggest mistakes I find. So let's look at this thing called lead generation. Why doesn't it work? This is all about how to generate more leads. So for me, if I was working with you on an ongoing basis as an advisor, coach, trainer, whatever it was I was doing for you, the first thing I'd look at is what you're already doing and understanding the results that you're already getting. Because without that, why would I want to change something that's working fantastically well? And if we don't know whether it's working well or not, then we've got to start to do that so that we can decide where our commitment should be. Should it be on LinkedIn, or should it be on email marketing or Google Ads? Where should that commitment be? So step one, phase one, is understanding the numbers. Simple to do. Just need a spreadsheet, don't you? You know, a spreadsheet with perhaps months across the top, all the different things that you're doing down the side, i.e. LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, or X, and so on and so forth. Yeah, website, and then all you do is fill in the boxes. You know, in November, how many leads did you get? In March, how many leads did you get from LinkedIn? On your website, how many leads have you got over the last 6 months? You'll be able to see, you'll be able to plot that. And that's, I believe, incredibly important, and often the missing link from all marketing. So once we've got at least a reasonable understanding of that, we can then look at what do we need to do to improve what we're already doing. Now, this is, again, a massive subject, and I could spend all day talking to you about that, but I've got about 20 minutes. So I'm going to try and just give you some examples and get you thinking for yourself so that you can think about what you're doing. Now, I'm going to use what I call the main hub of the whole of your marketing, arguably the most important part of your marketing. That is your website. Right, your website. When I speak to business owners, I hear things like, "Well, yeah, we've got a website, but we don't really, you know, we don't really win any business on it. It's a brochure site. You know, we didn't set it up to win any business on it. We just wanted a presence on the web." That's just bullshit, quite frankly. Why would you spend, you know, I don't know, anything from £500 up to £50,000, let's say, on something that you don't want to win any business on? Give me a break. You know, that's not true. And if it is true, then, you know, that's not good, because whilst it might not win you any business, it could win you business. But you got to do something. You can't just stick it on the web and go, right, okay, I'm ready. You know, let the leads pour in. You know, it probably ain't going to happen. In fact, almost certainly isn't. So what are we going to do? Well, we've got two objectives here, two things that we need to do. Firstly, we need to get traffic. We've got to get people to come to the website, right? Secondly, we've got to make sure that the website converts traffic into leads. That's how we generate more leads. You don't want to spend a load of time, money, and effort getting people to a website that doesn't convert. That makes no sense at all. So the first step from a website point of view is to look at what we can do to improve conversion. That's first step. Don't want to get traffic because it's not converting yet. Okay, so we want to improve conversion. So what do we do? The first thing I'd look at is the headlines. You know, there's an old saying in advertising that the headline is the advert for the advert. And that's true in the modern world, with the headline being the advert for the web page, the advert for the blog, the advert for the email campaign, the advert for the social media post, the advert for almost anything. If you go out networking and you get to stand up in front of 30 people having just eaten a big breakfast, and you say, "Hi, my name's Steve Mills," what you say after that is your headline. It's the 1 minute of fame that you get when you go to a lot of these networking events. So bringing it back to websites, we're going to look at the headlines. I see so many really, really bad headlines on websites. Headlines like "our services." I mean, can't you write anything more boring than "our services"? Even if you wrote marketing services or accountancy services or landscape gardening services, at least I know what it's about. But "our services," I've no clue. What about the other page that's on lots of websites? "About us." Give me a break. You know, nobody cares about you. Nobody cares about me. Wouldn't it be better to turn that page from about us into how we help you, how we help page, or how we can help page? That might be better. There might also be lots of pages on your website and on your blog that if you wrote them with search engine optimization in mind, it might also get allocated on Google, get found on Google, and drive traffic to the web page as well. But let's just take that as we're going to work on improving our headlines right across the board, not just on the website, but improving your headlines. I once helped one of my clients to improve the headline on an advert. Right, they were advertising on the back of a magazine, and they'd spent £2,000 a month for 6 months, £12,000, and got 0 leads. And I just started working with them. It was my first day working with them. And we were reviewing all their marketing, having a look at it all. And I said, well, you got 2 choices, really, I think. You've got to either stop doing it because, you know, you spent 12 grand proving that this is not working, or you change it. And that starts with a headline. Now, without going into it too much, they've got a headline that was the name of the company. Right. And I said, why are you using that as a headline? They said, well, we want to create brand awareness. I said, okay, do you want to create brand awareness, or would you rather create some leads? They said, oh, leads. We want more leads. That's why we've got you in, Steve. I said, okay, so we need to change the headline. What is it that your equipment that they sold, what is it that it does? They said, well, basically, I mean, they told me what it did, but basically it saved local authorities between 8 and 10 million pounds in recycling costs every year. I said, now how long does it last for? They said about 10 years. So it saves local authorities about 100 million, does it? They said, yeah. I said, well, that's not a bad thing to say, is it? We didn't actually say that in the end. We just took it as a year. We said local authorities save 8 to 10 million pounds per year. That was the headline. The next month, we got 5 leads and 2 sales, each of 2.5 million pounds. They made 5 million pounds on the first day of working with me. Now, I'm not saying that to be, aren't I great? No, all I did was look at the headline, just like you can do, and improve it. So headline's really important. Guess what? Subheads on a page, really important. Another thing, the words. You can improve the words that you're using on your email, on your social media, and on this website. What about pictures? Could you improve the pictures on your website? Of course you could. What about video? Does video improve conversion rate on a website? What would you think? On average, apparently, so they say, as it were, it improves conversion rate by about 40%. Because people buy from people that they know, like, and trust. I'm hoping by the end of today, you'll feel as though you know, like, and trust me more than you did at the beginning of the day. And you might want to book a meeting with me to talk about how I can help you with your marketing. If you do, great. And if you don't, that's fine. But at least you'll have benefited from listening to this. Okay, so we've covered headline, subheads, text. These are all things that you can use to improve your website. Your website's lead generation, by the way. We've talked about pictures. We've talked about adding videos. What about adding testimonials? Do you think that might improve? Yeah, absolutely. If you've got evidence that other people have bought the product, and these are the results, or this is what they think about the product, then that's obviously a good thing. So, you know, you could tell me how great you are all day, but it's much more powerful if somebody else is telling me how great you are. You with me on that? So that's another thing to think about. Next, we come to FAQs. Frequently asked questions. When I read your page, I'm probably going to have a load of questions. And those questions, there's probably only about half a dozen real main ones that I want to think about. So I might want to add an FAQ section in there. And last, but by no means least, in fact, arguably the most important and misunderstood part of a website is the CTA, or call to action, which is normally, if you've got a website that's like that, you know, really long copy website, you know, I have to read and 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 read. And I get right down to the bottom and there's a button that says, click here to find out more, or buy it here, whatever it says. You know, but which part of that page is the least read bit, would you think? It's the bit down the bottom. Why not have one here and another one here and another one here? So you've got like 3 or 4 calls to action, because some people are going to go onto this page and go, do you know what? That's exactly what I want. What do I do? Oh yeah, just click here. Others are going to want to read it in triplicate. They're a little bit more, you know, I was going to use the word anal there. I'm not, well, I've used it now, so never mind. But you get the idea. You know, they want to read it in triplicate. You know, people who are, I don't know, perhaps lawyers, for example, you know, you hope that they read things in depth before they make decisions. So, you know, that's another really, really important thing. Now, one other thing that is probably the most important part of it, and that's this. When it comes to traffic, you've got to get the right traffic to go to your page. You've got to get the right. It doesn't matter how well it's written, how great the headline is, how great the video is, the call to action, everything. If you've not got the right traffic, then they're probably not going to buy. If I've got a page advertising, I don't know, I'm just going to be silly here, a seminar for accountants, and I drive a load of solicitors to it, don't quite fit, does it? So probably arguably the number one thing that I want you to think about is, who is your target market? And is this page or pages geared towards them? Now, I want to be clear on this because this is an important thing. Your target market should not be businesses, right? Or this type of people. It needs to be more niched, right? Niching is really, really critical in business, and it's often the missing factor. Okay. So we've got to make sure that we're driving the right traffic to the website. So how do we do that then? Well, we use this thing called SEO, search engine optimization. I'm sure you're aware of that. You might not be fully aware of how to do it. If you're not, I've not got time today to talk to you about how to do SEO. You know, it's reasonably in depth. I do have a report that I'd be very happy to send you. So just get in touch, let me know. We can hop on a meeting and we can talk about it, whichever you'd like to do. So that's one way. Another way, the quickest way to get loads of traffic, is paid advertising, isn't it? You know, you can set up an advert on Google today, or you can use any of the social media sites, so set it up on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and so on and so forth. And the bottom line is, you know, if you want to get results quick, you got to pay for them. Right now, that doesn't mean you have to do that. You can go on to LinkedIn, you can go on to Facebook, you can go on to YouTube, you can go on to X, you can do a whole you can stand up at a networking event and say, by the way, everybody, if you go to my website, Steve Mills is the name, the website is results-mastery.com. If you go there, You can download a free report that I've written, which is another way, by the way, of getting people's contact details. You can offer various things, can't you? You can do free reports, you can do webinars, you can do events like I'm doing now with a live stream. You could do physical events. You could offer a free book, and so on and so forth, to get your visitors' contact details. That's always a good thing. And the bottom line is, the great thing about all that is that can be measured. I can tell you, last month I got 852 people from LinkedIn to my website. That's pretty cool, isn't it? It's cool that I got that many, but it's even cooler that I know that I got that many, because I put a load of work in, a load of posts in to do that. Okay, I'm going to bring it to a close because I did promise you it'd be about 20 minutes. I got one little gem here that I think is really important with your marketing, and that's this. Actually, two. I'm going to do two. One, you need to look at each element of your marketing and work out what you need to do to improve the results. You've got to measure those results, because without it, you can change things and those results can go down. So we need to measure those results. But what could you do to improve the results that you're achieving from your marketing? Okay, giving you a load of ideas today. Hopefully you can take some of those on board. Secondly, is there anything that you're not doing that you could do that would produce better results for you? Let me give you a quick example of that. Referral marketing. What do I mean? I mean word of mouth. And you say, well, we do win business from word of mouth, but do you have a system for it? Do you have a process for it? Do you ever ask for referrals? If you don't, but you did, I guarantee you're going to make more money. You know, you could make another 50, 100, 200 grand, you know, who knows, but you're going to make more money. Okay. I've got a third one. The third one is simple. Do more. Do more. You want to win more business, do more marketing. Even if you don't improve it, if you just do more of it, you know, you're going to win business. You know, if you make more phone calls, if you send out more LinkedIn posts, if you connect to more people on LinkedIn, you're probably going to win more business. If you send out more emails, you're probably going to win more business. So, you know, just do more. Do more, put more effort in. It's like going down the gym, isn't it? You know, if I want to build my muscle more, there's no point turning up once a fortnight. I'm going to have to be there most days, putting the work in order to grow my muscles. And you've got to be there most days, in fact, every day, doing your marketing to build your business muscle and to get better known and to build relationships with people and get them to know, like, and trust you and buy from you. I hope this session's been of value to you. I really believe it has, but like all these things, there's no point learning. You spend 20 minutes, 20 odd minutes, whatever it is. I'm looking now. Oh, where does it say? It says it somewhere. I don't know. I can't see it. Oh, there, 23 minutes. 23 minutes you've spent with me. I can tell you now that was a total and utter waste of time until and unless you do something. So I hope you do something, and I hope it produces fantastic results. I absolutely know I can help you to grow your business. I guarantee that I can make you more money than I cost you. I'd love to help you. I've been doing it for over 30 years. And I've had huge success, not with everybody. Some of them don't do what I tell them to do, and they've not got the results that they would like. But I've made way over £100 million for my clients. Now, if you'd like a small slice of that, then just book a meeting. Go to my website. You can see it in the bottom corner of my screen, results-mastery.com. You can also see it on the board on the wall behind me. If you go there, you'll see a big gold button. Click on that. That'll give you access to my diary, and we can book a Zoom meeting to talk about you, your marketing and what we together can do to improve it. Thank you ever so much for listening, and I look forward to speaking to you again, hopefully in a meeting, if not, perhaps on my next live stream. Thanks for listening.